Good afternoon, and welcome to Attorney Commander J.R. Glapohkpa Chesson talk show. Today, our topic is going to be about discipline. So, we're going to learn about discipline. Why is it important for all of us to know about how important discipline is in our lives and what we need to do to help to regulate self-discipline in our lives. But before I begin, excuse me 1 minute. Let me just rectify some things over here. Okay. Thank you for your patience. Before I begin, I want to let you all know one thing about discipline. We are not born with discipline. First of all, the topic of my discussion is when discipline matters, exploring the path to self-regulation or self-discipline. What is discipline? We are not born with discipline, nor do we inherit it from our parents. Discipline is attained through training, self-control, and or self-discipline. Okay, so what is or are the meaning of discipline? Now we know that in our English language, one word may have several meanings. Like parents, when I talk about parents, we know that parents are people that raise children. Then you have other meanings that parents are people that provide care and sustenance and protection for the children. Those are deeper meanings to these words. So let's go into what is discipline. Discipline is the practice of training people to obey. Training people to obey. Okay? Let me make sure. So, self-discipline is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger you become. So, we are not born having discipline in us. All of us, even the most mature person, was not born with discipline in them. They had to be trained and they had to learn. They had to have the desire to excel. That is one of the main things that buttress discipline or support discipline, your desire to achieve or to succeed in whatever you want to do. So discipline is training people to obey. That's one meaning of discipline. Another meaning of discipline is it is a branch of knowledge, typically one studied in higher education. Now, you know when you go to college, you do political science, you do economics, you do math, you do English. All these different courses you do or studies you do are disciplines. Why? Because they require several years of training for you to achieve a certain level of performance in that area. After 4 years of training, you think like an economist. You think like a mathematician. You think like an economist. Because you have been trained within those 4 years to follow a certain systematic process of learning within that specific discipline, whether it is math, whether it is English, whether it is political science, they have a curriculum that you have to proceed through for the 4 years in order for you to achieve a degree in that course. So it becomes a discipline because you are training to be thinking and acting like an economist, like a political scientist, like a mathematician. So those are disciplines, usually in higher education, not elementary school and all of that. You don't have any foundational doctrine in high school and all of that. Only when you get into college and all of the higher education that you deal with disciplines. Okay? What is also another meaning of discipline? Training someone to obey rules or a code of behavior using punishment to correct disobedience. So you see, this is for little children. Okay? Where this is the initial stages of discipline, where you use punitive measures to garner obedience. Okay, you can do that on a higher level in the upper grades or after college. There are ways to encourage a certain action from a person. Okay, so punitive measures are one of them. To corrective measures. Sometimes we say punitive, sometimes we say corrective. Punitive is to punish you for doing wrong. Corrective is to correct your actions, to let you know that what you did was wrong and you need to change it to achieve a better result. Okay? So that's another form of discipline where you train someone to obey rules or a code of behavior using punitive or corrective measures. Okay? Now, what is the true definition of discipline? You know, we got all the different definitions, but we have one intellectual definition that combines all the other definitions together into one compact statement. And here it is. Discipline is the quality of being able to behave and work in a controlled way, which involves obeying particular rules or standards. You see how I combine all those? Okay, it's a quality of being able to behave in a certain way and work in a certain controlled way. That's self-control in a controlled way, by which involves obeying particular rules or standards. That's the real true definition of discipline, where it combines all the other aspects that I just talked about previously. Okay? Now, there are three types of discipline. You have one, preventive discipline. You have two, supportive discipline. And you have three, corrective discipline. Now let's talk about these disciplines. What is preventive discipline? Preventive discipline is the measure taken to preempt misbehavior by keeping students engaged or people engaged. So you're preventing misbehavior, indiscipline, by keeping the people engaged, doing things, making them work, making them learn, keeping them in class, trying to augment their abilities. Okay? So that's preventive discipline. You're keeping them from getting in trouble, from misbehaving, by giving them tasks to do and watching them see it through. Okay? So that preventive discipline, where we take measures to prevent people from getting into trouble, from being mischievous. That's what they say, idle mind is the devil's workshop. I think you heard that before. That means when you're not doing nothing, you just sitting down idle, You thinking on things to do that may be mischievous, that may be against the law, that may not be good. Okay? You may be thinking about that. So it's the devil's workshop. You thinking of mischievous things to do. Okay? You may not be a criminal per se, but you just want to create havoc. Okay? Because you're idle. You're not doing nothing. Okay? The second one, supportive discipline. What is supportive discipline? Supportive discipline is the measure taken to assist people or students with self-control by helping them get back on task. Okay, you see, this is not punitive. This is supportive. You see the person going off track, doing things they're not supposed to be doing. You stop them. You tell them, look, get your act back together, get on track, and do what you're supposed to do. You're supporting them. Okay? You're not trying to break them down. You're not trying to punish them. You're not trying to tear them apart. You're trying to correct them in the right way by putting them back on task. Whatever they were doing, if they become idle, they become without work, or they're just lacking around, you get there, you put them back on task. Say, come on, guys, let's go get back. You got to do what you got to do. You got to stay focused. You got to finish this work. You can't slack. Get back on work. So that's supportive. Okay, you're not punishing them. You're giving them the support they need by encouraging them or reprimanding them to get back on task. Okay? Then you have corrective discipline. The last one. Measures taken when students or people are not following classroom or school rules. What are some of the measures? This is where you deal with corrective and punitive measures. Punitive measures may also be corrective measures too. It depends on to what extent the punitive measure is being applied. Okay? So if you're correcting behavior, there are certain ways to do it. Okay? In Liberia, people get flogged. Okay? It depends on the severity of the flogging to let you know how bad your action was. We see in Liberia, they stretch people. You get 4 guys, they stretch you, the teacher come and flog you, give you 25, 30 lashes. You know that you did bad. That's a severe type of punishment where they stretch you in the front of the classroom. But if the teacher that take the right hand and beat you and let you go, that's not as severe as being stretched. Okay? Those are punitive measures in Liberia. Many of us went through them. Okay? A few of us stretched too. Not because we really did bad, but because that was a standing order for being disobedient or by not following orders. Maybe the whole class had to be whipped. I remember one time in demonstration school, and teacher Harding whipped almost 20 of us because we didn't hear the bell to come in for lunch, and he was standing at the door. They stretched all of us and gave us 10 or 15 lashes. Yes. But we didn't hear the bell. But we still had to be punished because that was the standard. Okay? So those are the 3 types of discipline. Preventive, to prevent you from getting into trouble by engaging you. Okay? Secondly, supportive. See you going off track. Come and tell you, no, you got to get back on task. You can't lack around. You can't slack. You can't play around. You got to get back on task. Okay? That's supportive. You're not correcting them. Thirdly is corrective, where they disobey the rules and they have to be rectified. Okay? So what kind of measure you use? Punitive is corrective. Punitive can be corrective too. So do you punish them? What kind of corrective measure do you use? Okay, so that's it. Discipline is self-control. In this page, we call on my thing here, we call it self-regulation. It's the same self-control. Self-control, self-regulation is the same self-discipline because you're regulating your behavior. Okay, you're trying to control your behavior. So, discipline is self-control. When you discipline children, you are either teaching them to be well-behaved or you punish them and correct them. Okay? So you see that the corrective measure can be punitive measure too. Because when people do wrong, they got to be punished, especially to know the rules. And they have been given the opportunity to learn the rules. And they disobey the rules. They got to be punished. But when you're punishing them, you are teaching them that they can't disobey these rules. These are pertinent rules to govern our society or the school or the classroom or to ensure discipline and uniformity in class. And people can not just disobey these rules or take them for granted. Okay? So these are important things in our society. Now, most of us who are Christians, what does the Bible teach us about discipline? The Bible uses the same meaning. I think they talk about Chronica, where they talk about discipline. The book of Chronica, whatever book it is, Corinth, I can't remember the name of the book. But that's where they talk about discipline being a form of training. Okay? It's a form of training or religious edification. Okay? They're trying to teach you to be religious, to follow the laws of religion of Christianity, to honor them. Okay? Let them be a part of you, that you will not disobey them. Okay? According to the Bible, God lovingly disciplines his children to train them to become spiritual champions. Okay? When you discipline someone, it's to punish or penalize them for the sake of enforcing disobedience and perfecting moral character. So when you punish somebody, this is the corrective side of it. You're trying to punish their behavior, but at the same time, correct it for perfect moral character. Make sure that they behave better, that they follow the rules, that they are disciplined, that they understand we have rules, and you are trained to follow these rules. And when you break these rules or you violate these rules, you are subject to punishment, punitive and corrective measure. Okay? To punish or penalize for the sake of enforcing disobedience and perfecting moral character. You want to let them know that the disobedience was wrong. They will be punished. Okay? What is a disciplined person? A disciplined person is someone able to carefully control the way they work, live, or behave, especially to achieve a goal. So if you have a specific goal you want in life, you want to be a good law-abiding citizen, you got to work towards it. It's not easy. Okay? You know, to be a good citizen, you got to work, you got to live, and you got to behave as a good citizen would. Okay? What are the standards of a good citizen? The society dictates that. The norms of the society dictates that. Public policy dictates that. How the public feel about certain things. All of us know it when you're a Liberian. You're born in society. You know how your mind and power feel about something. Most of the time, those sentiments are the same sentiments you grow up with. The same feelings. The same public policy against certain things. Okay? So these are the things that we have to learn through training and discipline. Okay? So someone who is disciplined, is well behaved, is well trained, is fully know how to control the behavior at work, in their lives, and how they socialize with other people. Okay? Especially when they're trying to achieve a goal. What is the act of discipline? You know, we have nouns and verbs for different things. So, what is the act of discipline? The act of discipline is the ability to train oneself to do things that should be done and resisting things that should be avoided. Okay? So, that's the act of discipline. Having the trained ability to do what needs to be done and avoiding those things that you need to avoid. Okay? So what are the highest form of discipline? What are the highest form of discipline? When you know these higher forms of discipline, your life becomes better and easier. So what are they? One, getting to work on time. If you have a job, you know that your daily bread, you know your family depending on you to support them by means of your work. So getting to work on time is discipline. Knowing your job is discipline. Why? Because you got to put time into learning your job. You can't just get a job and just go on the job and do it. No, you got to find time to learn it. That means putting extra hour into your job, to spend time on the job learning how to do your job. Okay? Coming to work early to learn, going to home late, learning. You got to learn to do your job. So that demonstrates your level of self-regulation. Setting priorities. How do you set priorities? What are your priorities? You got work. You want to play basketball. What is more important to you? Priority is importance. You setting importance in your life. What is important to you? Is playing basketball more important to you than going to work? You got to set priorities. Okay? So priorities are importance. Okay? Our preferences. What's your main preference? What you want to do? That's your priority. What is most important to you at the time? Okay? You got to weigh things. Okay? If you got two things you want to do or you like to do, you got to weigh things. What is more important? What is more beneficial to me financially, socially, and economically? I mean, financially, socially, and spiritually, if you want to say that. What is more important to me? You weigh it. If you feel work is more important to you, go to work. Leave basketball. That's setting priorities. Okay? You got to know that work is where you earn your daily bread, where your family depends on you to survive. You can't leave work and go play basketball when you're not making money from playing basketball. If you're a professional or semi-professional and you're making good money from that, then you weigh the circumstances. Should I go to work today or should I go play basketball today and make money? You weigh the circumstances. Okay? And lastly, denying personal preferences for more important ones. The same thing I told you about. The same thing we're talking about. What is your personal preference? You want to see your girlfriend, or You want something. You like eating. You like going out to eat in a certain restaurant. You don't like eating the office food. That's your preference. That's the economic. That will make economics different. Okay, we say economics, everybody across the board the same. But what makes supply and demand should be the same. But what is the element that changes supply and demand is individual preferences. Okay, that's why in communist country, people have no preference. Everybody get the same car, everybody get the same clothes, everybody get the same everything. That's true communism. There is no preference. The state supply everything for everybody. But when people have preference, then you're living in democracy because we have the ability to make the money to live the lifestyle we want to live, not what the state imposes on us. So when you have the ability to supply or attain your preferences, it's a different kind of lifestyle. Okay? So the highest form of discipline springs from the values you use to regulate and control your action. What are the values you use? Is it family? Is it religious values? What are the values you use to control your actions? Okay? Is it the need to succeed and excel? It is your own value, your deep desire. So these are the highest form of discipline. Going to work on time, knowing your job, setting priorities, and denying personal preferences for more important ones. Okay? So if you know you got a girlfriend, but you know you're obligated to an organization as president, and you gotta go to a meeting, you gotta leave your personal preference of going to your girlfriend and go attend the meeting that you ran for. You ran to be president of that organization. Now you're president, you got it, you got to maintain the level of administrative regimen that you ran for. Okay? So those are the advantages you have. Okay? Now, disciplined behavior. What is disciplined behavior? Disciplined behavior refers to the conscious or unconscious motivation that directs an individual action towards maintaining acceptable social behavior, often influenced by factors such as fear of consequences or punishment. Let's go over that again. What is disciplined behavior? It's the conscious or unconscious motivation. What is motivation? The reasons behind why you're acting in this manner, why you want to achieve this goal, why you want to be president. What are the motivating reasons behind you wanting to be president? There got to be some reason. People don't just jump up and say they want to be president, but there has to be something motivating you to want to be president. Okay? What is it? Is it control of people? Is it leadership of people? What it is? What is it? Is it controlling the money and the power? What is it? What is the motivation behind all of that? So it's a conscious or unconscious motivation that leads us to act towards maintaining acceptable social behavior. So something got to lead us to do it. Is it societal norms? Is it the pressure of society that leads us, that motivates us? Because something got to motivate us to behave in the right way, to want to achieve good behavior. So what is that factor that motivates us? Is it conscious or unconscious? Conscious, that means you know about it. You know what you want and you're going for it. Unconscious, you may know about it in your conscious mind, but it's not brought up front in your mind, in your memory. You're just acting on motor skills. You're just doing things because you want to do it. Okay? But it's not conscious. You're not thinking about doing it. You're not saying, I will plan to do it this way. No, you're not planning. You're just going out and it's just happening that way. So it's unconscious. Okay? But it directs you toward behaving in a certain way to achieve a certain social behavior. Okay? Because you know if you don't behave in a certain way, there will be consequences. And because it's that fear of the consequences or results that may be punitive or corrective that you behave in a certain way to ensure that you don't be punished or face corrective action. Okay? So self-discipline, as I told you, is like a muscle. Self-discipline is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger you become. When you lack self-discipline, it leads to low self-esteem, low self-pride, usually unsuccessful academic career. Okay? Some people get low self-esteem, they don't want to go to school no more, they drop out of school, all the kind of thing. It may happen, you may drop out of school. We're not saying that happens, but you will have low self-esteem if you don't have discipline, because that means you will not get the respect from other people you deserve. Okay? You may not get the access to things that you need easily because you're not disciplined. Okay? You don't know how to behave. Okay? So self-discipline is like a muscle. The more you train yourself to be disciplined, to follow rules and regulation, to know the norms of society and try to learn them and obey them, you become stronger as a citizen, as a productive human being. Okay? So these are some of the things that discipline brings to us. Okay? Discipline is a better predictor of academic success than IQ. Okay? You can be smart as a bat, but if your behavior is rotten, you can't succeed. Who wants to work with a rotten person who doesn't respect nobody, talk down to people, insult other people, act like they know everything? Many people don't want to work with you. So you can have the highest IQ, but a nasty disciplinary behavior, and people will not want to deal with you. God's discipline is not to punish. God's discipline is to reform. Everywhere in the Bible, you hear God talk about training and teaching people. He wants to transform their behaviors. Okay? Maybe many of them were not evil or wicked, but their behavior were not Christian-like. Okay? It was not Christian-like. They were under Moses' law. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. And that wasn't Jesus' law. Jesus' law is to forgive. It's to forgive. So he came to transform us from that an eye for an eye mentality of Moses' law into his law of forgiveness. Forgiveness. 70 times 70. 100 times 100 times. Forgive as many times as you got to. That's Jesus' law. Okay? So, how do you develop self-esteem? How do you develop self-esteem? Let's look at it on, let me put it up. How do you develop self-esteem? First, choose a goal. Whatever it is, choose something that you want to achieve. Focus on it. Develop just that one goal. Don't put too many things before you. Take one thing you want to do. If you want to go to college, if that's your goal, to go to college, any goal, focus on that goal. That must be your primary goal. Develop your self-discipline. How do you develop your self-discipline? You know that in order to go to college, you got to behave in a certain manner. You got to learn how to study. You can't be going out to nightclub at night, every night of the week. Even on weekends, if you got to study, you got to study. You got to learn to make sacrifices for your class, for your progress and advancement in school. Certain things you got to give up, okay? On the weekends, you want to go party, you want to hang out with your friends. You can't do it. You got to go study. You got to do research. You got to make sure you pass. For example, like doing this class, I had to wake up early to do my notes. I'm not just talking out of my head. I made notes so I could know what to tell you in a constructive manner. Now, choose a goal. Whatever your goal is, choose it. Work on it. Develop it. And your self-discipline to achieving that goal. 2, find your motivation. Okay? Once you got your goal, now find out the reason why you want to achieve this goal. That's your motivation. What's the reason you want to achieve this goal? Is it to augment your family life? Is it to better your societal living? Is it to get richer? Is it to make more money? Is it to have the ability to send your children to college? Whatever the motivation is, list it. Know it. Let it be before you. Let it serve as an encouragement to you to move forward. Thirdly, identify obstacles. What are the things that will stop you from achieving your goal? Is it your family? Because they don't understand your need to achieve education? Is it your friends, your peers who try to put you down because they don't have the ability to pursue what you are pursuing? Is it the finances you need? What are the obstacles? When you identify those obstacles, you know how to attack them one by one. You know if you need money, you got it. You got to beg if you won't go to school. I begged in my life. I begged. When they killed my pa, I didn't have no way to go to school. I went to people and fell down on my knees and begged them for money to pay my school fee, and they gave it to me. You got to beg. People will help you. If you're a student, people will always help students because they don't know the future. One day you may become something that they may need your help. Okay? So they don't know. So many people will help you. Just out of being kind and preparing for the future. Say, no, we don't know where this guy will be tomorrow. Let's give him a helping hand. He's serious. He's in school. He's not a loafer. He's not a vagabond. He's doing the right thing. Okay? Replace old habits. You know you were doing something before that led you down a bad path. Do not come back and hang with the same people who you hang with that cause you to go down the bad path. Do away with old habits. Do not hang with them. Do not do most of the same things you did that cause you to go down those bad paths. You got to identify them. That's why they say identify obstacles. Every bad habit is an obstacle. So you got to identify it and replace it. And finally, monitor your progress. Monitor your progress. See how far you're going. You know you want to enter LU. Did you pursue knowing the prerequisites for you to enter LU? What all you need to do to enter LU? Did you get all the things you need to do? Did you pursue every aspect of your financial obligation you need to pursue? All those things. You got to monitor your progress. Okay? So those are the things about discipline that help you decide your progress and advancement in this life. Now, I hope this class has been helpful to you. My hour is almost over. I'm doing this lesson because you need an insight into the things that matter in our lives. Discipline matters. Many of us go to college. We don't know what we want to do. I know many people go to college, they don't know what they want to do. So they jump into economics. They say they want to be economists. Then after the first 2 semesters, they say, I don't like that. They jump into math. Then they say, I don't like that. Well, you know, people changing 2, 3 majors in 2 years. That holds you back. Because you need to fulfill certain requirements in the major, in every major, to pursue that discipline. So if you keep changing, every time you change, you take a new course, you have new requisites to do, new curriculum to follow. So that holds you back. And this is because we don't know what we want to do. We're not disciplined. Okay? So these are things of discipline. You know your goal. You got your goal before you. You have that burning desire to achieve that goal. But you must develop the ability to obey and follow rules that will enhance your self-control to achieve what you want to achieve. That's my lesson for the day. I hope you all will benefit from it. And I come to do these classes. I wake up very early in the morning, like 4 or 3, to do my notes, to make sure I present these classes to you because I want you to get the best edification of my presentation. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself, and I hope you learn and advance yourself. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.